What's up, YouTube? This is Kyan Cannon from Arguably Georgia Sports, coming here with our East predictions for the SEC 2017. I hope that you enjoy. We just finished our West. That'll be uploaded soon too. So let's get right into it. So start with Missouri, team who I think is the worst in the SEC. I don't think it's hard to believe that just a few years ago they were in the SEC championship against Auburn. But okay, so let's starting off with Missouri State. I think they win that, and that might be one of their only wins of the entire year.
I do believe they win that one. And then their next game against South Carolina, who is not very strong. East is a little bit weak this year, last year, and so I think South Carolina wins this one though.
Same. And then against Purdue, I think this is actually going to be a very competitive game. Worst team in the SEC versus worst team in the Big Ten. I actually see Purdue winning this game.
I'll have to agree with that. And then their next game is at Auburn, and I'm gonna go with Auburn in this one.
I'm gonna go with Auburn too. I think we already predicted that. And then a bye week before being at Kentucky, and I'm gonna say Kentucky wins that one.
I'm gonna give that to Kentucky too. They're usually a barely bowl eligible team, and Missouri's not going to be that.
And then they got at Georgia. I think they lose that game, even though they should have beaten Georgia last year if it wasn't for a late miracle.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. Anyhow, I agree that Georgia wins. Their next game at Idaho.
I think they will win that game. But the next game at UConn, even though UConn's not great, I think it's at UConn. I think that they'll lose that game, and it'll be their lowest point of the season.
I agree too. We saw a little bit from UConn last year, and we'll see how they are this year. Next game against Florida, lose that. I think you agree. Tennessee, lose that.
Yep.
Vanderbilt, lose that.
Yep.
And Arkansas,
Lose that.
get walloped.
Yep. It's gonna be 2-10.
All right.
No SEC and 0-9 in the SEC, or is it 0-8? I don't know. Okay. Then Vanderbilt, who came off a surprisingly good year and could be on the rise.
I completely agree. They had that one memorable play against Auburn that blocked field goal, and I have respected them ever since.
Same guy, Zach Cunningham, has stopped UGA in that one game, but now he's gone to the draft. He was an amazing player. So I think they win their first 3 games: Middle Tennessee, Alabama A&M, and Kansas State. Kansas State might be a tough game, but I think they will win.
I agree. And then their next game is Alabama. Nope.
Just saying they're gonna lose their next 3 games.
Yep. Alabama, Florida, Georgia. Lose those. Ole Miss. I'm going to give this one to Ole Miss. I think Vanderbilt has had a good season so
And
far.
we already predicted that in the West.
And then their bye game right before South Carolina.
I think they can beat South Carolina.
I think they can win this one. Then their next game
Against Western Kentucky. Don't sleep on Western Kentucky. They've been good.
They had a few good games last year and against good teams.
But I think Vandy wins.
I'm still giving this to Vandy. And then Kentucky.
I think that Kentucky wins this one.
I'm gonna give it to Vanderbilt though.
Kentucky can be a sleeper to win the East. Believe it or not.
I couldn't disagree more. Next is Missouri. I'm giving this to Vanderbilt. And then I think this is going to be a huge game.
Vandy won last year. They blew out Tennessee.
I think they could win this. I'm going to have to go. I'm picking the upset. I'm going with Vanderbilt.
I think I'm going to go with...
At this point, is it really an upset?
I'm sorry. I think I'm going to have to go with Tennessee on this game. I think it's at home. I don't think... Vandy won that game because it was at home and they had a lot of momentum, and it was the opposite for Tennessee. So I think... What does that for me put Vandy at? I think that's... I think that's 7-5. I think I had them at.
Yeah, I had them... I think I had them about the same. So let's see. Our next team is going to be South Carolina.
Playing NC State, they lose to NC State, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And then they beat Missouri. And then I think they lose to Kentucky.
I think they lose to Kentucky too. Then I think they beat Louisiana Tech.
I agree.
And I think we had them both losing to Texas A&M.
Yes.
Losing to
Arkansas. Lose to Tennessee. Bye week. Lose to Vanderbilt. Lose to Georgia. Lose to Florida. Beat Wofford. Then lose to Clemson. So, all in all, a pretty bad year. If they lose to NC State, that's one. They probably have about. I think they would go 5-7. So, interesting. Next, we're going to be doing. Yes, Kentucky.
So, at Southern Miss, I mean that actually could be a close game. I think Kentucky wins that one.
I'm giving that to Kentucky. Next,
Eastern Kentucky, one of the worst teams in Division 1. It's going to be an easy win.
I agree. Then South Carolina, I think we both picked Kentucky to win this one.
And then, can they break, what's it, like a 34-year streak now? Florida? No. It's not happening. Eastern Michigan, another terrible team. Missouri, I think they win that one too.
And then their bye week, then Mississippi State.
I think we both had
Mississippi State.
Winning that. Then Tennessee, this will be an interesting game. I think Kentucky will win this game.
Oh!
It's at home. I think they could.
That is bold. But it's
Tennessee's trending downwards. I think they're going to win like...
It actually might be accurate. I'm gonna have to go with Tennessee, though. It's going to be close.
And then Ole Miss, I think we had them winning that game. I think
Ole Miss winning.
No, I think we had Kentucky winning.
I didn't.
I think I did. At Vanderbilt,
Vanderbilt
wins that game. I
Georgia?
think they lose to Georgia, even though it has been competitive. It's a rivalry.
Yeah, well, I mean, South Carolina is always a tough game for Georgia. Somehow. Somehow.
It's Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. Oh, sorry. Well, then I'll definitely say that Georgia wins.
I think Georgia wins too, even though I think it could be competitive. And then they'll lose to Louisville. I think Louisville is also a sleeper in the national title.
Oh, no.
With Lamar Jackson.
Oh.
Last Heisman winner, they dominated most of last year.
Well, that was only because of Lamar Jackson. You can't go to the national championship with a one-man team.
They're not a one-man team. They have a solid defense. They have a great running game.
I'm definitely picking Louisville, but I
think they're a sleeper to go to the playoff. I believe. Spoiler alert! I have them. I have them winning the ACC Atlantic. That
Florida State.
Yep.
We'll
get to that later though.
Clemson?
Yep. We'll get to that in a second though. So I think we got Tennessee now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's go. Or yes, Tennessee.
I think Tennessee is going to be wrecked by Tech in week 1.
I agree. Although, they might get a couple of touchdowns.
That wasn't a pun. That wasn't literal. But Indiana State, they'll win that game against Larry Bird's college, the Indiana State Sycamores. At Florida,
walloped by Florida.
Mm-hmm. Because Tennessee fans, they were bragging all last year how they beat Florida. Well, I mean, it's like
they beat
Florida. You still lost to them 11 out of the last 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing really impressive.
Well, I mean, last year though, they ended up with a pretty bad year, but they ended up beating Florida and Georgia. So,
and then
accomplishment.
UMass. I think that they'll beat UMass, obviously ranked 130th. It's pretty bad. I think. Well, I mean, they have a 3-game win streak against Georgia now.
2.
I think it's 3. Anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think it is. But I think Georgia wins this. I mean, Tennessee's on a downward path, and Georgia.
It's gonna be close.
Georgia's going up.
I'm gonna go with Georgia. I think it's gonna be close. South Carolina. I believe.
Hey, I think we both picked Tennessee.
Yep, and then okay, and then at Alabama, they're gonna lose. They got destroyed at home last year. They're not gonna win at Alabama.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Then Kentucky. I think I had Tennessee.
I had Kentucky in this game.
I think you did.
I'm just saying it's bold. Southern Miss, they'll beat Southern Miss. They will beat Missouri.
They will get annihilated by
I don't know about that because it's at home, but yeah, they will lose. They will lose. They will lose. They will lose. It'll be a good 10-4. It'll be a 2-possession game, I think.
Next is Vanderbilt.
I think they will.
I think Vanderbilt wins this.
I
No, wait, I had Tennessee by a very narrow margin.
Yeah, we both had Tennessee, barely. And then we have so now Georgia, correct?
Georgia's next.
A weird schedule.
They have a very weird schedule because they have they don't really have any very prominent teams that they're playing except for obviously Florida, and possibly Notre Dame and possibly Auburn and possibly Tech, but that's really it.
Possibly Tennessee.
I doubt it, but
App State. App State.
Their first game is at App State, but I'm going with Georgia, by a pretty good amount.
Me too, but App State is like what Princeton is in basketball. In football, they slow you down, they wear you down. I think it's going to be a competitive game, just like Tennessee was last year, but I think Georgia will pull away.
This next game is at Notre Dame. This is an interesting one because you never know.
I'm not going to call this one. It's too close. I don't know. I got to see both teams in action in the first week. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I want to do that, but we can't.
As of right now, is what I think. Based on just last season, I'm gonna have to go with Georgia.
I would agree, but I mean, you never know when Notre Dame's gonna turn it around. They may have a great season. All right, next is Samford. Ooh.
Yeah, they're gonna lose. Okay.
Yeah, Mississippi State. I'm going with Georgia.
At Tennessee, we already made the prediction. I think that Georgia's going to win this game, but I think it's going to be close.
It could be close, but it might be a walk in the park. It just depends.
At Vanderbilt, I think it could be another.
We both picked Georgia.
It could be another tough game, but yeah, Georgia's going to win this game.
Next, Missouri.
Going to beat Missouri.
Lose to Florida. Okay, bye week before Florida, but Florida also has a bye week. I have to give it to Florida. I hate to say it. This is the game that decides who wins the East, in my opinion, unless Georgia or Florida completely destroys themselves. I think Florida wins this, and they go to the SEC championship.
I think, and then South Carolina, I think Georgia wins that game.
Georgia wins.
And then Auburn, I think Georgia wins. I think it's going to be very close.
I don't think so.
And then Kentucky, I think
Georgia wins.
And then Georgia Tech. I'm going to
Georgia
go with Tech.
You have to.
Hey, I told you last year you had the same reaction. And guess what happened?
Yeah, Georgia was on an off year last year.
Paul Johnson happened.
Brand new quarterback, brand new coach, mostly new offensive line, and mostly new receivers. And so it's going to be tough, but we have a lot of new freshmen coming in this year, so I think it's going to be a good year. I'm going to have to go with Georgia on that one.
And yeah, I'm going to go with Tech, obviously. And then here we go, the last team, Florida. They start out with Michigan. I think they lose that game. Michigan's too firepower.
Honestly, I think they get annihilated. I think Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. And Florida doesn't stand a chance.
I think it's going to be a close game, but
No.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not.
going to. I mean, we put such a high-powered offense, such a good defense. I think it's going to be a good game.
Okay, now
Northern Colorado should be easy enough. Vincent Jackson's college. I don't know how I know that, but
win Tennessee, win Kentucky,
win Vanderbilt.
Lose, as I say.
I'm going to say win.
Lose to LSU. I'm going to have to say
LSU.
Lose to LSU.
LSU's not going to beat them in the swamp. It's not going to happen.
I can't do that. No. LSU is going to win that game. Next is Texas A&M. I'm going Florida.
Florida. And then Georgia, I'm going Florida. I think you said Florida too.
Yeah.
At Missouri. Florida will win this game.
And then South Carolina.
Florida's lucky this year. They get a lot of their road games.
Against bad, except, yeah.
Most of them, honestly. Then South Carolina, I think I'd say Florida. UAB, Florida, and then Florida State. Oh, this is a tough game. This is a tough decision.
I have to pick Florida State. I think they're going to be really strong with a second.
I think Florida State's going to be good, too. I think Florida State's going to win this game.
Thank you.
But I could easily change my prediction.
All right, so let's go back to Georgia for a second. I picked them to have a single loss against Florida. But I'm going to say right now that I don't think they're going to go 11-1. I think that they're going to lose one unexpected game, which is either going to be they will lose.
I think it could be Tennessee. It could be Notre Dame.
I think it's either going to be Notre Dame, Auburn, or Tech, and then they
Vandy.
might
Vandy.
or Vandy, which is very possible. And then they might lose one more. So it's either 10-2 or 9-3 in my opinion.
So I believe that makes my East champ Florida and my West champ Alabama again.
Yes, and that would be the same for me. But I do think
SEC championship predictions. I'm going Alabama in a rout. Again,
Alabama, no question, no matter who they play.
But it's gonna happen.
Or Georgia or whoever else might.
And I believe that takes us to the end. Like and subscribe if we get enough likes. Soon enough, maybe we'll be able to do like a face cam or do it like on camera and maybe do some live stuff. And as always, but not really as always, but now always.
But not really always.
Bye.